After the French men's basketball team secured the Olympic silver medal, discussions surrounding the four-time NBA DPOY winner Rudy Gobert have intensified. There's no doubt that he is an excellent defender, capable of anchoring a defensive system almost single-handedly. However, his offensive limitations and the inherent disadvantages of being a traditional big man make him highly exploitable in high-level competition. This has made him a controversial figure in the NBA. In the FIBA setting, where there's no defensive 3-second rule, a context that should theoretically suit him better, his performance still fell short. In this Olympic tournament, Gobert managed only 2 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists across the 3 elimination games. Interestingly, France surged to the finals once they reduced his role. So, what exactly is the reason behind this? In this edition, we'll explore why Gobert struggled in the FIBA setting and what the underlying issues with his game might be. Before diving into the discussion about Gobert, let's first review his overall performance in the Paris Olympics. As an NBA max contract center and a multi-time DPOY winner, Gobert was expected to be a key player for the French team. He started all 3 group stage games, averaging 21 minutes per game, with 6.0 points, 6.3 rebounds, 2.7 blocks, and a 72.3% field goal percentage. However, once the tournament entered the knockout stage, Gobert's role on the team suddenly diminished drastically. His stats across the 3 elimination games were as follows. Against Canada, he came off the bench, playing 4 minutes and recording 0 points, 1 rebound, 0 assists, and 0 blocks. Against Germany, he came off the bench for 5 minutes, with 0 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 0 blocks. Against the USA, he came off the bench for 12 minutes, scoring 2 points, grabbing 3 rebounds, 1 assist and 2 steals. In total, across these 3 games, Gobert played 21 minutes, contributing 2 points, 5 rebounds and 2 assists. Initially, I and many fans assumed that Gobert's reduced playing time was due to an injury that led to him being listed as DNP. However, 2 pieces of news clarified the situation. The first news came after the game against Canada, where Gobert mentioned that he had undergone a minor surgery on the ring finger of his left hand the day before, and he was grateful to be able to play at all. The second news was the French coach's response to Gobert's reduced role, in which he stated, Gobert did not undergo surgery before the game. His coming off the bench was purely a tactical decision. He had an MRI scan, but no surgery. I just wanted to run a small ball lineup, with Yabusele at the 4 and Wembanyama at the 5. Although it's difficult to determine the truth given the conflicting statements from Gobert and the coach, it's undeniable that France performed better after reducing Gobert's playing time. Notably, when facing the same opponents in both the group stage and knockout stage, Germany and Canada, France saw significant improvement by limiting Gobert's minutes. Objectively speaking, based on the games, despite his limited playing time in the knockout stages, Gobert did not show any signs of discontent. His defensive performance remained solid. As in the NBA, when he patrolled the paint, his defensive impact on the interior was formidable, still at a DPOY level as a rim protector. Additionally, in this Olympic tournament, Gobert's frontcourt partner was Wembanyama. When these two were on the floor together, France's rim protection was nothing short of suffocating. Scoring in the paint became incredibly difficult. Evade one shot blocker, and you'd face another. Take the following play as an example. Moritz Wagner backs down Wembanyama, and as he approaches the basket and tries to spin for a shot, he's first disrupted by Wembanyama's long arms. Then Gobert, with his excellent positioning, uses his own long reach to establish a second layer of help defense behind him. In this brief sequence, Moritz Wagner encountered the most difficult rim protection in the world. If we were to rewind time to an era before Curry revolutionized the game, Gobert would undoubtedly be a great star. But unfortunately, in the era where Curry elevated the importance of the three-point shot to another level, relying solely on defense is no longer enough to compete at the highest levels. Gobert's core issue is clearly on the offensive end. He is a center without any shooting range outside the paint, without any ability to create his own shot, unable to punish mismatches, and mainly relies on finishing off assists, a lob threat big. Therefore, the problem he presents on offense is that he significantly clogs the spacing. The French head coach has already made it clear in an interview. Relegating Gobert to the bench was to implement a small ball lineup. Put simply, it's because Gobert occupies too much offensive space. A clear contrast can be seen in France's offense with and without Gobert on the court. Let's first look at France's offense when Gobert is on the floor. Take, for example, this sequence in the second quarter of the semifinals, where France had both Gobert and Wembanyama on the court at the same time. Here, Gobert's inability to create his own shot and lack of shooting range were exposed. Germany's defense completely sagged off Gobert when he was outside the paint, with the help defense fully clogging the driving lane Wembanyama needed for his isolation play. The result was predictable. Wembanyama drove to the paint but was met by both on-ball pressure and help-side shot blockers, with no space to operate. Even though Gobert tried to roll to the rim in this possession, the crowded spacing made it too difficult. Wembanyama's pass wasn't well placed, and Gobert failed to catch it cleanly. Ultimately, with the shot clock winding down, Gobert forced a shot that ended up as a brick. This kind of possession wasn't an isolated incident. Nearly every time Gobert was on the floor, the opposing team felt free to pack the paint. In the following sequence, Germany even brought the weak side defender all the way into the paint for help defense. The same scenario played out in the final. When Gobert was on the floor, France's offense became very stagnant. Another frustrating issue is that even when Wembanyama cleared out the paint for Gobert by setting a high screen, Gobert still struggled to finish in traffic. For instance, in this possession, Wembanyama set a pick at the top of the key, and the ball handler drove into the paint, dishing it to Gobert, who was in the dunker spot. But against Embiid's defense, Gobert couldn't even find a window to attempt a shot before the ball was deflected out of bounds. As a result, for France to score in such cramped space, they had to rely on individual talent, as seen in this next sequence. After rolling off a screen, Wembanyama received the pass and attacked the basket. The defender assigned to Gobert was in perfect help position, yet Wembanyama managed to finish through contact with his exceptional wingspan and size, getting the ball into the hoop. Though this was a highlight-worthy play, it further exposed the spacing issues when Gobert is on the court. Just imagine if Gobert wasn't in the paint, and instead, a shooter was spaced out to the corner. Would Wembanyama have needed to make such a difficult finish? For comparison, let's take a look at France's offensive dynamics when Gobert is not on the floor. In this play, France starts by using a pick and roll at the top, which forces a switch. The guard doesn't attack himself but instead passes the ball to Wembanyama in the low post. Immediately after, Yabusele, who initially switched onto Booker, cuts in from the weak side, receives the pass from Wembanyama, and finishes with a dunk. This was a very smooth three-man play, and the key to its success was, once Wembanyama got the ball in the low post, the other players, having shooting range, forced the US team to stay spread out, unable to pack the paint. This allowed Yabusele to get an easy scoring opportunity under the basket. Another example is this play where Wembanyama establishes position in the paint. After receiving the ball, he immediately goes up and delivers a powerful two-handed poster dunk. When the lineup features four shooters alongside Wembanyama, the space around Wembanyama opens up significantly. In this play, from establishing position to finishing the play, Wembanyama was in a one-on-one situation without any help defense or double teaming. By comparing the offensive dynamics with and without Gobert on the floor, and considering his outstanding defensive performances, we can revisit the core question. Why, despite Gobert's strong defense, was his playing time drastically reduced in the crucial knockout games, and why did the team perform better as a result? The answer to this question also answers the one we posed at the beginning. Gobert's offensive limitations have become so significant that even his exceptional defense can't offset them, leading to his struggles in FIBA play. To be more specific, when Gobert is on the court, his defense makes it difficult for opponents to score, but his negative impact on offense is so pronounced that it hinders France's ability to score as well. When he's off the court, France's defense may drop, but the boost in offense more than compensates, resulting in an overall increase in the team's performance. It's also worth noting that Wembanyama's presence is crucial. On the Timberwolves, when Gobert is not on the floor, the team's rim protection and help defense suffer significantly. But on the French team, even without Gobert, Wembanyama alone can uphold France's defensive schemes. Regarding Gobert, beyond his offensive limitations, he also shares the common weakness of many traditional big men: the inability to switch effectively on the perimeter. This isn't unique to Gobert, but it's a flaw that can't be ignored due to its negative impact. Trailblazers coach Billups highlighted this point, stating, "A Gobert can appear vulnerable in certain situations, especially when the opposing team spreads the floor or runs pick and rolls with quick guards, where you can directly target him." Warriors' Draymond Green and Pacers' Miles Turner have previously expressed similar sentiments. An interesting aspect here is that Gobert is one of the few players whom NBA players and coaches don't consider particularly impactful, yet journalists and some fans view him as highly effective. Of course, from a defensive standpoint, Gobert is indeed strong enough. His rim protection and help defense are elite, and the Timberwolves became a playoff team with him on the roster. However, in the small ball era, offense outweighs defense in importance. A championship contending team can't afford to allocate too much salary cap space to a player like Gobert, nor can they afford to play someone so easily exploited for extended periods. In a sense, what we're discussing today isn't just about one individual, but the common challenges faced by all centers of Gobert's type in this era. On a side note, no matter how poorly Gobert performs offensively or how bad things look on the court, his overall efficiency always seems to be solid. If you analyze him purely from a statistical perspective, especially looking at advanced defensive metrics, you might be amazed at how strong he appears. But anyone who watches the games knows that Gobert's actual impact on the court is often exaggerated by the numbers. While his defensive impact is significant, his offensive issues cannot be overlooked. So, of course, Gobert is a good player. When Gobert was earning around $20 million, he was a fit for any team in the league because he's a DPOY who brings an entire defensive system with him. But when Gobert is making $40 million, he should probably travel back in time and join a team in the late 80s or early 90s. Otherwise, in this era, even if he can help win some games, there will come a time when his flaws are exposed. If a team is paying a max contract for him, the ceiling and potential of that team are already predetermined.